Dr. Flip Shire, please report to ER. Dr. Flip Shire, please report to ER. Attention, Dr. Flip Shire, please report to ER. Dr. Flip Shire, please report to ER.
I'll tell you what, Freddie, I wish I'd never signed on here at Flat Town Memorial Hospital. I mean, come on, this is the godforsaken neck of the woods, and they brought another one in from the Strangler tonight. Her neck was broken. They're waiting for this. Ha! The detective that ought to be handling it, he doesn't have time anymore. He's no longer Lieutenant Skitters, he's Commander Skitters now, waltzing around doing the bidding of King Pedestrian and Prince Devane. He doesn't have time for regular, ordinary people. So I guess we'll get a different detective over here tonight to handle this latest Flat Town Strangler case.
This is Lieutenant Deckers here. I came to see the woman they brought in. Can you take me to her? Thank you.
I'm very sorry, Commander Skitters, sir, but Lieutenant Deckers is over in Flat Town working another victim of the Flat Town Strangler. This one survived but her neck was broken. He just headed over to Flat Town Memorial. If you head straight over there, sir, you can catch up with him, I am sure.
Alright, thanks for the information, guys. I gotta get over there and talk to Lieutenant Deckers immediately. Look, guys, I'm gonna leave my car here. I'll take your squad car over there. It'll be faster. You can pick it up later. Thanks. Deckers, you've got to help me. King Pedestrian planted electronic nodes, implants, into my brain that forced me to be obedient to him. I need you to take this taser and shock me a few times. That should destroy the implants. That should disrupt the electronic signal. Let's go somewhere secluded, somewhere away from this place, away out in the country perhaps. Yes, it might knock me unconscious for a moment. That's where I'm counting on you to make sure I survive this experience. I know that you are the man for this. It was too much for Helen. Helen couldn't do it. But you and I go back a long way, Deckers. I know I can trust you. I know I can count on you for this. Thank you, Deckers. I appreciate this. Up there ahead, Deckers. That should be good. Up there ahead, Deckers. Well, Skitters, I don't think it's going to get any more remote than this. I guess we'll park and get out of the car, and I'll go ahead and zap you, and we'll see what happens.
You have entered the space of timelessness. Eternity without time, without beginning, without end. It is neither your universe nor the parallel universe. This is the space of timelessness. And I am a member of the enclave, the conclave. You know me as the man in the hat.
Presents another episode of Historic Murgatroyd, where we explore important persons and past Murgatroyd history. Tonight we are looking at the early 20th century writer Gadsden Colbin, who left his literary mark on Murgatroyd and the rest of the nation. A look back at a true literary great, tonight here on Historic Murgatroyd with your host Leadstuff Gowell.
Leadstuff Gowell here, your host for another episode of Historic Murgatroyd. Tonight, we continue with the second installment of the literary genius, the 20th century literary great, Gadsden Colbin. Colbin's divorce in 1906, along with his failure to get anything he had written up to that time published, sent him into a severe state of depression. His sister Judiana described his conditions and actions during that bleak period.
He was seemingly irrevocably distraught. It was as if hope itself had crumbled away at his fingertips. I watched him stare at a deserted cemetery across from our cottage for ungodly lengths of time. It was not unusual for him to forego the typical social amenities. When he ate, if he did so at all, he would use his bare hands and tear at the food viciously. We would, at times, erupt into horrid rage and throw chairs or books or dishes across the dining room. Fearing his uncontrollable wrath, I would silently clean up after him. Only after I felt he had sufficiently calmed down would I dare speak to him, and then only in the least provocative of terms. He continued to write, of course, but he took great pains to conceal his stories from me. There was a brief time when I feared that he was becoming paranoid. He would insist that no one touch his desk, lest his stories be stolen. He locked and barred several of the windows, claiming he wished to prevent spies from invading our home.
It was 1907 before Dr. Colbin again assumed demeanor that might be deemed normal, if indeed there is such a thing. He met the eccentric young Dr. Chemist at a small social gathering hosted by Juliana. They were later to collaborate on a number of non-fiction treatises. Many of these writings contain economic theories which long foreshadowed the pay your bills movement which Dr. Chemist launched in the late 1930s. Colbin saw his first story published in 1911. Death of the Cursed Vultures was one of the first in its genre, and a trendsetter which had impact on stories for the next decade. Colbin continued to mail many of his stories to various correspondents with whom he corresponded. I regret that it has come to this, Spectator, but I am afraid you leave us no choice. You've violated the rules of the Conclave numerous times now, and here you are again, saving the life of this human, this Lieutenant Skitters. None of us understand why he fascinates you so. At any rate, I'm afraid we have no choice but to banish you from the Conclave. You are no longer part of us. You are lucky that we do not exile you to eternal timelessness. Instead, you will wander the earth for eternity as a spectator of the events of humans. For your own sake, I would recommend you not interfere or intervene in any further human affairs. At any rate, we can't control what you do, but we can banish you from the Conclave. So, Spectator, from henceforth you are no longer a part of the group. You will wander the earth as a spectator for eternity.
Flick, mein Anführer.
I understand you were one of the most esteemed interrogators in the Third Reich. You will be the head of operations here in this universe in the interrogation of the paper dolls that we're going to capture. Among them will be Woody the Woodpulp Boy and Flashy the Paper Doll. You are, of course, empowered by me to use your fullest capabilities and complete arsenal of tools against these creatures once we capture them. Yes, you'll be staying here in this universe. I have Colonel Paransky over in the parallel universe right now, waging war against that vampire President Quint. Welcome to the team, M-Guard. Welcome to the Les Tomac Show. It's a Murgatroyd state of mind. It's a Murgatroyd state of mind. It's a Murgatroyd state of mind.
The Murgatroyd City serial killer. Who is the Murgatroyd City serial killer? Well, here's what we do know so far. There have been a total of 14 victims. The 14th, Shimiko Hiramoto, escaped. She is the only victim to escape. She was attacked on the Vincenti parking lot recently. Shimiko Hiramoto spotted Vincenti Cosmetics at about 1 o'clock this morning as she left the building on her way to her car. I, along with other detectives, have interviewed her extensively this morning, and at this stage we are prepared to reveal only the following to the press.
Murgatroyd serial killer back. He back. He come for me, Frank. Frank, he come for me. He come for me. He come for me.
Shimiko, it was just a bad dream. It was just a bad nightmare. I won't let the Murgatroyd serial killer get you. He's not coming back.